Let us discuss now, before talking about JMS, what is synchronous and what is asynchronous programming.
If you make a request, and it will wait for response.
Yes.
Until
The response comes, if you are waiting, then it is synchronous. But if you are not waiting for the response, then it is asynchronous. Now suppose I have some methods in a class. Just I am writing methods here. There is a method m and there is a method n. And now here there are some statements in m, and after which I am calling n. Then after n I have some more statements, right? Now client calls m. These two statements are executed, then method n is called. Until the control will now go inside n. Until the control comes out of n, these statements will not be executed, right? So the method m will wait until the n has completed. So this is synchronous way of programming. But now I have a requirement using core Java. Let us talk. If I give a task, I want to make this thing asynchronous. I don't want method m to wait until n has been completed. Just call n and continue the next statements. I want to make this asynchronous using core Java. Tell me how you can do. How we can do it? Core Java. Yes. So now let's assume some main thread is calling m, right? When main thread is calling n, the same thread will be executing n. So that's why this statement will not be executed until n has been completed, right? So now what we can do is, we can do like this. New thread dot start. But for thread object it requires runnable object, right? Runnable is the interface, right? I will say new runnable and here I will call again. So now what will happen? Main thread is calling m, it is executing, then this will start a new thread, right? And that thread will take care of executing n. Just a new thread is started. Then when my main thread will continue executing the rest of the statements. It will not wait until n is called, right? So when can we make this asynchronous? When is it good to make it asynchronous? Tell me.
If the response is not depending upon it.
Yes. The execution of n can be independent of the rest of the statements in m. If these statements are not dependent on the execution of n, then it is always good to make a asynchronous program, right? So this is how to make an asynchronous program, right? Normally a method call, if you make a method call, it is synchronous. Now I want something to happen asynchronously, right? So let us try to understand. By using messaging, you can write asynchronous program, right? So I can do like this. While I'm coming to office, I want my bike to be serviced. While I'm coming to office, what I can do? I can make a phone call to my service center, bike service center, and ask them to pick up my bike from my home, and then I can go to my office and do my work. By the time I come from my office, the person will go take the bike for servicing, get the bike servicing done, keep it in my home, right? So I am doing on my work. Just have to send a message to my service bike repair center. Just if I send a message, asynchronously they will act upon that message and get the work done. They know what all work to be done, right? Just have to send a message. Based on my message, I can say in my message, in my phone call, I can say do all such type of repairing, do something, replace a tire, something else in my message only. Based on the message, they can do the processing, right? So it will be good if based on a message, a processing can happen asynchronously, right? So for messaging, we use JMS, Java Messaging Service. Okay. Now tell me, if I post a message and if the message is lost, let's say I'm doing an SMS simply. What if the SMS is lost? Will the work be done? Yeah, tell me. What I could do is I could send a message to my bike service shop saying that my bike has to be serviced. Let's assume they'll take care. But I should be reliable. The messaging system has to be reliable, right? It has to guarantee once a message is sent, the messaging system has to guarantee me that the message will be definitely delivered, right? So I want that my messages which I sent are definitely received. So I require some acknowledgement from the other side. If I get an acknowledgement from the other side, then I can be very sure that okay, the message has been received, right? Where to send the message is a problem, and how the guarantee is provided is another problem, right? Now in JEE specification there is a sub specification called JMS specification. Let me tell how it is guaranteed by using this JMS specification, Java Messaging Service. Tell me, what is the implementation of servlet specification? Servlet container. EJB specification, EJB container. For JMS specification, JMS server. JMS server is the implementation of JMS specification, right? So when your WebLogic starts, JMS server starts. Server starts means definitely it will be listening on some port. When it is listening on the port, I can connect to the port and I can send some messages to it. Even HTTP server is listening on a port, I can connect to it and can send HTTP request, right? So to the JME server also I can connect and I can send messages, right? And there are two types of messaging. That is, one is there are two types of messaging models: publish subscribe and point to point. Let us take an example of radio station. Radio station is publishing all the radio related things at some bandwidth, 91.93 point something else, right? So whoever tuned to that FM will receive the messages, right? So their radio station is publishing, and if you are interested in subscribing, you have to subscribe to it. Whoever subscribes will receive. There can be a number of subscribers, right? So in the radio station is a very good example of publish subscribe messaging model. One message which is sent can be received by n number of subscribers, right? This is one way of one messaging model. One message which is sent will be received by n number of subscribers. And again, another messaging model is point to point. One message will be received by only one person. Taking an example of posting to a post box. Post box number will be there, right? You can send a post to a post box number. That will be received only by one person, right? So point to point. In JMS terminology, a destination to which we can send a publish subscribe message is called as a topic, and the destination to which we can send a point to point message is called as a queue, right? So queue is a destination and topics are destination. Now whenever we are sending messages, we need to send it to some destinations, and the receiver also will pick it up from the destinations. So whenever you are messaging, you should message to a destination. There are two types of destinations: topic and a queue. A message which is sent to a topic can be received by multiple subscribers. A message which is sent to a queue will be received by only one receiver. The terminology publisher, subscriber, and topics. And here the terminology here is sender, receiver in queues. So there are two types of destinations: topics, queues. Now on the JMS server also, what we need to do is we need to create two types of destinations: topic and queue. And according to your requirement, you can post a message to a topic, or you can post a message to a queue, right? So now first of all, if you want to post a message to a queue or a message to a topic, these queues and topics are present where? Inside the JMS server. Inside the JMS server there are queues and topics. Queues and topics are nothing but destinations. You can treat of destinations as a collection simply, right? See, this is my JMS server which is listening on a port, and here I can create a destination called a topic. I can create a destination called as a queue, right? Now this is a client. A client has to send a message to a topic or a queue, right? First of all, the client needs to know how to connect to this JMS server. This is JMS server. So first step in sending a message to a topic or a queue is to connect to the JMS server, right? But how do I know how to connect? WebLogic will be having its own implementation of JMS server. JBoss will have its own implementation of JMS server, right? The way to connect to WebLogic may be different. The way to connect to JMS server of WebLogic might be different. The way to connect to JBoss server, JBoss JMS server is different. But as a client, the client should be abstracted from the way how to connect to the server, because there are different ways to connect to JBoss and different ways to connect to WebLogic. So he should be abstracted from it, right? So what have to be done is the administrator has to configure some object called as connection factory first. Connection factory. As the name says, it is a factory for getting connections. Who will configure it? Administrator. So JBoss admin or WebLogic admin in your company, he will configure an object of connection factory, and he will configure various connection parameters, right? So somehow, if the client can get this connection factory object on the client machine, he can use this factory and get a connection object, and that connection object knows how to make a connection, right? So what the admin has to do is he has to create a connection factory on the server side with some default configurations and then deploy it, right? So I will show you in WebLogic how to create a connection factory. Once you deploy the connection factory will be kept inside the JNDI with some name. Once I deploy my connection factory, it will be in the JNDI with some name. Now what the client can do, client can look up the JNDI, he can get the connections, right? He can get the connection factory, and by using connection factory he can start, right? Any doubts?
The connection factory is JNDI configuration.
Admin will create a connection factory. While creating connection factory, he will give various parameters, connection parameters.
From there you can use it.
So once you deploy it, connection factory object will be created. It is kept in the JNDI with some name, and client will look up the JNDI, he will get the connection factory. By using connection factory, he can get connection object, and that connection object knows how to connect to JMS. This is how client is abstracted from how to connect to JMS server, right? And again, as I said, topic is one type of destination, queue is one type of destination. I may want to send a message to either topic or a queue according to my requirement. If I want my message to be received by many subscribers, I'll choose a topic. If I want my message to be received by only one, I'll use few, right? But this topic has to be created on the JMS server. So administrator has to create a topic with some configuration. What are the configurations? What is the maximum time until which the message has to be present inside the topic or a queue? There will be some timeout for the queue. A message is sent to the queue. Nobody is receiving it. What is the maximum time until which it has to keep? Such type of parameters will be there for this destinations, right? So these also has to be configured by the administrator and create a topic or a queue. So once a topic is deployed again on the JMS server, this topic has to be deployed inside the JMS server, then it will be created here. Then topic also will be registered inside the JND with some name, and also queue also will be registered with JND. Right? Any doubts?
Actually, we don't like.
Okay. Now go to the installation folder, Oracle WebLogic. In WebLogic server 11gr1, here there is tools and configuration wizard is there, right? Okay, are you there? In Oracle WebLogic server configuration wizard. Click on this configuration wizard. I'll close my Spring Source toolsuit for some time because memory will be consumed. A lot of memory will be consumed. Stage is a bit heavy than Eclipse. Okay, now we'll create a new WebLogic domain. Take the defaults. Give the name as Sapient domain. And give your own password. I am giving WebLogic 123. Take all the defaults and finish. Once you finish, here there is start admin server. Click on it, it will start the WebLogic server. Yeah, 7001 is the port. Now open your browser and point to 7001/console. Give your password, whatever you give, and login. Okay, in this services you have messaging, and here you can select on JMS servers. You cannot see any JMS server right now. Create new. You can say JMS server hyphen sapient. Okay, and see here there is an option called create a new persistent store. The messages which we are sending to topic and queue, I'll show you later, we can send some durable messages also. Durable messages means the messages should be stored in some location, right? Even the server stops, the messages have to be retrieved. If the server restarts, we may want to provide a facility that the messages should be retrieved again. So sometimes the messages have to be stored in some persistent store. It can be either a database or either a file. Now to be very simple, I will select create a new store. Create a new store. It's asking whether the JDBC store or file store. We will select simply file store. If it is JDBC, we have to provide again data source again. Okay, now we'll take a simple file store and tell the file name. File store hyphen sapient. I'll check. And where it should be targeted, this, yeah, admin server. In which directory you want to create it? I want it to be created in my C drive. This file should be created in my file with this name should be created in my C drive. You can specify anywhere. Okay. So now the persistent store, you can select file store sapient. And select next. Where do you want to deploy this admin server? Finish. So now what we did is we created a JMS server and deployed it inside admin server. Now what happens when WebLogic starts? Admin server will start. WebLogic is nothing but a Java program, do you agree? A main thread starts. Inside that main thread, it will start a servlet container. Servlet container is nothing but another thread, right? And EJB container will be started. There is also again a thread. All are threads. EJB container is a thread. Servlet container is a thread. Like it, whatever containers you have, everything is a thread. And I said deploy my JMS server inside admin server. Means JMS server also start as a thread. It is deployed. Now my JMS server is running. Okay. Now select this JMS modules. Okay. There are no JMS modules right now. Create a new JMS module. Give a name to a JMS module. Here I can give system module hyphen sapient. Module is an encapsulation of all the things like connection factories, queues, topics, everything. To encapsulate all our JMS specific objects, we create a module. Inside this module, we create a connection factory, we will create a queue and all. Just an encapsulation, that's all. And take all the defaults, next. And target it to admin server. Don't forget to target. If you don't target, it will not work. Target, select this admin server, next. Would like to add resources to JMS system module? Yes. I would like to create topics and queues. Select this. Finish. JMS system module. Right? Now you can see new. You can see various types which we can create here. connection factory I'll select. I'm creating a connection factory. Okay, take that and select next. Give a name to your connection factory. Connection factory hyphen sapient.
I'm going to select
Only one. Only one you select. First we are now configuring only connection factory.
every time we have to come.
One by one we will configure. Okay. Then JND name. We can give connection factory JNDA. Just give these names. We will refer this JNDA name later for looking up. So we can configure various properties. We are taking all the defaults.
Okay. This connection file will allow only whatever the messages per session will be. Maximum messages.
Where is it? Here maximum messages per session. So here you are telling in one session the maximum messages which can be sent or received is 10. The connection factory can limit the number of messages that can be queued for an asynchronous session. It's accordingly, take all the defaults. According to your application, you can decide how many messages you will be receiving automatically, right? XA connection factory enabled. What is this XA? Yes. Here also global transactions are possible, local transactions are possible. What do I mean by transaction with a JMS server?
Which is sending a message to the person.
Suppose I have sent some 10 messages. While sending, I have sent some 10 messages. Now, I want a rule that whenever I am receiving, all the messages should be received or none of them should be received. Right? Suppose a receiver connects and is trying to receive some 10 messages. He receives 5 messages, right? Once the client receives messages from a queue, let's take a queue. If it is a queue, one message should be received by only one receiver, right? Now I have sent 10 messages to the queue. In queue there are 10 messages. A receiver connected, started a session with queue, right? Started transaction with queue, okay, and then receiving 10 messages. But after receiving 5 messages, due to some network problem or so, 6th message failed. Tell me, once a queue delivers the message to the receiver, should this message be deleted from the queue? When should this message be deleted from the queue?
Time out.
No. Already there are now 10 messages. Client will call receive. One message is sent. First message is sent. Should it be deleted immediately?
After getting acknowledgement,
Yes.
then
There are two ways when a server will decide. One is, once it receives an acknowledgement from the client that I have received it, then it is deleted. Or other way is, acknowledgements is one way, or other way is we can start this transaction to the JMS queue, right? I will start a transacted session. There are two types of sessions which we can start: a transacted session, non-transacted session. In non-transacted session, the JMS queue will be dependent on acknowledgements. The queue will send a message. If it receives an acknowledgement, then only it will delete it from the queue. In a non-transacted session, queue will look for an acknowledgement, right? But in transacted session, what we'll do, we'll start a transaction queue, then the queue will start sending the messages. Until the queue receives a commit, from the client. The messages are not deleted from the. So after sending 5 messages, client wants to receive 10 messages. Client received 5 messages. He didn't say commit. Till he says commit, the messages will be there on the queue. If 6th message fails, the client will end without. Client will roll back or terminate. The JMS server will not receive a commit, right? So the messages will not be deleted from the queue. When another receiver connects, it will send these messages again, right? So somehow my queue is guaranteeing that the messages are delivered, whether by using acknowledgements or by using transacted sessions, right? So in JMS also we can start transactions. Okay, any doubts?
But we can, in case of topics also,
Huh?
in case of topics also.
In topics also.
But I have one question. You have the multiple topics also, then it will be.
That's what now we talked about single server, single JMS server. Now in one admin server, I can create 10 JMS servers, right? In each JMS server, I can configure queues, right? Now let us assume that there are 10 JMS servers. I am sending one client is sending one message to each of the server. Then I can have distributed transaction, right? Whether all the messages are sent or none of them will be sent, or the reverse, whether all the messages will be received or not received, right? There are JTA transactions in JMS also. You will see the transactions clearly once I write the programs. You will see them. You will be able to see them visually. Okay, just now we'll go ahead. Let the extra transaction factory be enabled. Take next. Okay, I can click on this advanced targeting. Click on advanced targeting and create a sub deployment. Give the name as sub deployment name as Sapient JMS sub deployment. I'll tell what is the meaning of this sub deployment. Okay. Now I created this sub deployment, and this sub deployment I am targeting it to my JMS server which I created. I am not targeting it to admin server. Finish. Okay, now I'll tell you. See this connection factory, where is it deployed? Inside Sapient JMS server. The deployment name is what? Sapient JMS sub deployment. This is just a logical name to group some more configurations. This deployment, this sub deployment is targeted over JMS server Sapient. So let me tell you clearly through picture. Then I'll create new queue. Take next. Queue hyphen Sapient. I'll give the name as Sapient queue JNDI. Just a JNDI name for this queue. This queue I'm taking next. And where it should be configured to the sub deployment? Same, right? Once you select the sub deployment, automatically you can see JMS server Sapient. So now you are targeting this queue to the same JMS server Sapient. So I created a queue and the JNDI name is Sapient queue JNDI. Now I am creating a topic. I'll give a JNDI name topic hyphen Sapient. I'll give Sapient topic JNDI. Next and finish. Next and select the same sub deployment and target to JMS server Sapient. So we created a connection factory, a queue and a topic. There are two types of messaging models, publish subscribe and point to point. JMS supports these two types of messaging models. If you want to use publish subscribe model, then you have to use a destination called as topic, and if you want to use point to point messaging model, you have to use a destination called as queue. Right? Now to summarize again, JMS is a specification and every application server will have its own implementation. WebLogic has its own implementation of JMS server. When WebLogic starts, JMS server also starts. First admin server starts. When WebLogic starts, admin server starts. We have created a new JMS server and deployed it inside of the admin server. So when WebLogic starts, now my JMS server also starts. It will start listening on a port, right? Inside JMS server, we have deployed a topic and a queue and a connection factory also, right? Inside the JMS server we have deployed, and they are registered inside the JNDI. All the three has been registered in the JNDI with JNDI name, right? Now inside JMS server there are two destinations which are configured: JMS a topic and a queue, right? Now the client, if he has to connect to this JMS server, he should know how to connect. He should be abstracted from the way to connect. That's why what we did, we created a connection factory and it is in JNDI now. Client will look up the JNDI, he will get the connection factory. By using the connection factory, he can connect to JMS server. Once he has connected to JMS server, by using this connection object, he can start a session with queue or a topic, right? So we will do that programmatically so that you will visualize. Any doubts? Now let us write a simple client. Okay, open the server, open the Eclipse. Create a new project, Java project. Okay, I will create a new Java project, or Spring project is okay. JMS. Add the same libraries. Can create a new package. com.sapient. Now I'll try to send a message to a queue. Yeah. Same Spring library you add first. We need to add WebLogic libraries also right now, but I'll do it sometime. Message sender. to a queue. I will say queue message sender. I'll take main method. First thing is we need to connect to JNDI of WebLogic. The thing is we need to create initial context object and pass the connection parameters to WebLogic. As you know, there are two ways. You can create a new initial context object, and to the initial context object you can pass a hash table, or you can create a JNDI.properties and keep it inside your class path, and you can use new initial context. So I will use a new initial context. See, there are two constructors, one which is taking hash table and one which is taking default one. If you are taking default one, this will look for the connection parameters inside the JNDI.properties file. So I will use this one and I will copy JNDI.properties. See, I have that already, so I will just copy. You can do the same. I'm copying here. You can create a file called JNDI.properties like this. Say context.lookup. First thing is to look up for connection factory. What is the name of the connection factory you gave here? Connection factory JNDI. Copy paste from here. Whatever name you give, and typecast it to connection factory. Typecast it to Q connection factory. But Q connection factory you cannot see here. So some libraries have to be included. Okay, what libraries? Let me tell you. Go to your WebLogic installation folder. Mine is here. Right. Oracle WebLogic. Middleware. Here you have WL server, and here you have server lib. Okay, go to this directory. Okay. Then go to command prompt, go to this directory. See here, there is something called as WL jar builder inside this folder. I will run like this: java space -jar WL jar builder .jar. Now it will generate a file called WL full client .jar. This is the jar which we have to use on the client machines when using WebLogic. It will contain all the required things. Java-jar. See, this is the on the top of screen. You can see the command. Java-jar WL jar builder .jar. Execute it. It will generate a file called WL full client .jar. That includes this WL full client .jar in the build, but I'll include it. Add external libraries and add. wl full client dot there I added. Then I'll type Q connection factory from Java x.jms. The next thing is, again, we want to send a message for a queue, get the queue also first. Context dot lookup with whatever queue name. What is the queue name here? It is Sapient Q J&A, copy paste. So we will be getting an object of queue from Java x.jms. Okay, then you can get a connection from Q connection factory. Create connection will give you the connection. Create Q connection will give you the Q connection object. Throwing some exception. Let's try it. Okay. Now Q connection dot create queue session. First boolean says, is this a transacted session? I told there are two types of session we can start. A session which is transacted and a session which depends on acknowledgements. Now I don't want to create a transacted session right now. I will show you a separate example later. I wanted to use a session using acknowledgements. So first one should be false. It's not a transacted session. Then second one is, you have to use session dot auto acknowledge. There are 3 acknowledgement modes supported by JMS. I'll talk about the 3 acknowledgement modes. Right now I am selecting auto acknowledge. Auto acknowledge means whenever the client receives a message, automatically acknowledgement will come. So this is returning me an object of queue session. Then once I have a session with this queue, what I can do is I can say queue session dot create text message. I want to send a text message, so create a text message. It will return an object of text message. Then message set text. You send what, set whatever text you want to set. Hello, something I said. Now I want to send this message. Okay, to send this message you can do like this: queue session dot create sender for the queue. This will return an object of queue sender. So after we get it, queue sender dot send and pass the message. Then queue session dot close, queue connection dot close. I'll explain this program clearly and make you visualize everything, but just start your WebLogic server and run this. You should be able to see a message which is sent. I'll just write system.out.println message sent. So if everything executes successfully without any exception, the message will be sent. First start your WebLogic server if it is not. Then you can. No need. If it's already started, no need to restart. Just run this. Oh, I got some exception. I did so. File store -sapient does not exist. You got the same exception when you started? Okay. Okay. Let me just check again by clicking on it. Is it sent? Message sent? You have to keep it in source, not inside the package, in the class path. You got the message sent without any exceptions? Now I'll show you where to look Message sent.
I've got the system, but
Yeah, now I will show you where to look for the messages. It's coming, right? Yeah, the message is in the JMS server now. I'll show you how to look for that messages now. Okay, now I'll start it. I'll run the client. Let me check. Now I'm getting some exception. Unable to resolve connection factory JNDI. Okay, because my server didn't start properly. Maybe I'll try to restart it.